Hey everyone, and welcome. If you've ever been scrolling through a sportsbook, seen something called a three-way or European handicap, and just kind of scratched your head, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to break it all down and show you how to turn it into a seriously powerful tool in your betting arsenal.
So what is this thing, really? And, the real question is, how can it actually make you a smarter, sharper bettor? We're about to cover everything you need to know from the ground up.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll nail down the core concept. Then we'll dive into some real-world examples so you can see it in action. After that, we'll clear up the huge difference between European and Asian handicaps, a big point of confusion for a lot of people. Then we'll build a winning strategy, see where else you can use this bet, and we'll leave you with one key question to think about. Let's get into it.
All right, let's dive right in. Section 1, the core concept. Look, everything we talk about today is going to build on this foundation, so it's super important we get this down cold.
Okay, so the biggest thing you got to remember is that this is a three-way bet. That's key. All the bookmaker is doing is giving the underdog a virtual head start, say a 1 or 2 goal lead before the match even kicks off. That means the favorite is starting from behind, and this creates count them, three possible bets: a win for the favorite, a win for the underdog, or a draw based on that handicap.
Now you'll see this pop up in a couple of different ways. Sometimes it's with a simple plus or minus, like Team A -1. Other times you might see it as a starting score, like 0-1. Don't let it throw you off. They look different, but they mean the exact same thing. In this case, the home team is starting 1 goal down.
Theory is great and all, but let's be real. Seeing it in action is what really makes it click. So let's walk through a few real-world scenarios and see how these bets actually play out.
First up, a classic football derby, Arsenal versus Tottenham. The bookies have Arsenal as the favorite, so they slap a 1-goal handicap on them. What that means for your bet is that the game basically starts 0-1 to Tottenham. Now, speaking of finding markets like this, if you're ever looking for the best betting sites in your country that offer a 300% bonus, you can just search for betplace.us in your browser. It's a great resource. Okay, so let's see how this bet actually works.
So you've got 3 choices here. If you bet on Arsenal -1, they have to win by 2 or more goals to cover that deficit, and then some. Now here's the part that trips people up, the draw. If Arsenal wins by exactly 1 goal, say 1-0 or 2-1, the handicap makes the final score a virtual tie, so the draw bet is the winner. And of course, if the real match is a draw, or if Tottenham wins, then the Tottenham +1 bet is a winner.
Let's switch sports to really nail this down. How about some baseball? Let's say the Red Sox are huge favorites over the Orioles, so the bookie gives them a 2-run handicap to even things out.
And you can see, the same logic applies. For a bet on the Red Sox to pay out, they need to win by 3 or more runs, a blowout. But if they win by exactly 2 runs, yep, you guessed it, that handicap draw is the winning ticket. And if the Orioles pull off the upset, or even just keep it close and lose by only 1 run, the bet on them with their head start comes through. The key takeaway is always this: that draw option is tied to the favorite winning by the exact handicap number.
Okay, last one. A really lopsided international match. Germany versus Andorra. A straight-up bet on Germany to win? The odds would be terrible. Not even worth it. But a European handicap? Now that makes things interesting, because we can set a huge 3-goal line.
And this just shows you the power of it, right? Germany has to win by 4 goals for that bet to cash. If they win by exactly 3, the draw wins. And check this out. Andorra can actually lose the match by 1 or even 2 goals, and a bet on them still wins. This is exactly how you can find real value in games that look like total blowouts on paper.
All right, this is a big one. Seriously, a lot of bettors, even experienced ones, get these two mixed up. So let's just lay it out nice and clear. What is the real difference between a European and an Asian handicap?
Okay, here it is side by side. The biggest difference is right there at the top. European is a 3-way bet, win, draw, or lose. Asian is a 2-way bet. It's designed to get rid of the draw. That's why you see those weird fractions like 1.25 or 1.5 in Asian handicaps. But here's the real kicker. With a whole number, like -1 in Asian handicap, if the favorite wins by exactly 1, you don't lose. You get your money back. It's called a push.
And that right there is the one thing you absolutely have to burn into your brain. With a European handicap, there is no push, there is no safety net. If you bet Team A -1 and they win 1-0, sorry, your bet loses. The draw bet wins. Period. There are no refunds, no do-overs. It's definitely higher risk, but because of that, it often comes with a much higher reward.
Okay, so we get the mechanics now.
We know how it works, but the million-dollar question is, how do we actually use this to make money? Let's talk strategy.
Look, a winning strategy here isn't just about picking a winner. It's a simple four-step process. First, you gotta really figure out the gap in quality. Is it a small gap or a chasm? Second, what's their motivation? Is a team coming off a humiliating loss and needs to make a statement? Then you do your homework on all the key factors. And only after all that, you pick the handicap line that gives you the best value.
And when I say homework, I mean really digging in. Don't just look at the league table. How are they winning? Are they just squeaking by with one-goal victories? Or are they hammering teams? What's the underdog's record on the road? Little details like the weather, the condition of the pitch, team news, that's where you find your edge. Of course, finding all this info and the best odds is part of the battle. If you're looking for a list of the top betting sites in your country offering a 300% bonus, a resource like betplace.us can point you in the right direction. But remember, the analysis always starts with you.
Now, we've been talking a lot about football, but don't get the idea that this is just a football thing. Not at all. This concept is used across a ton of different sports. You'll see it everywhere. In basketball with points, baseball with runs, hockey with goals, even tennis with games or sets. Basically, any sport where you can give one side a virtual lead, you can have a three-way handicap. The underlying logic, the favorite having to overcome a deficit, the underdog defending a lead, and that all-important draw in the middle. It's the same no matter what sport you're betting on.
All right, we've covered a ton of ground, from the absolute basics all the way to a winning strategy. So let's wrap this all up with one final, crucial thought.
This quote just nails it perfectly. The European handicap is your go-to when your research tells you a favorite is going to win, and not just win, but win big, and you want to get paid better odds for being right. It's all about taking on a calculated risk for a much bigger reward.
And that really leads us to the final question, and this one is for you. Does this kind of bet fit your style? Are you the kind of bettor who's willing to accept that higher risk, losing on a narrow one-goal win, in exchange for that bigger payout on a dominant performance? Because that trade-off, that's the heart and soul of the European handicap. It's a really powerful tool in the right hands. And hey, if you're ready to start exploring it, you can find these markets on the best sites by searching your browser for a resource like betplace.us, which has a list of the best sites with a 300% bonus. Thanks for watching.